This is what my SCAR used to look like.
The SCAR-17 shines.
This is what it looks like now.
I
I know some of y'all are always like, stop doing videos about all these expensive guns and do a video about this and do a video about that and do a video about this and don't talk about that and all this other crap like that. Look, I like shooting. I love guns. I like nice. Sometimes I like it's not that expensive. Sometimes I like it when it is expensive. I just wanted to come out here and talk about a gun that I really like and love. And that is my SCAR, especially after I modified it. So if you don't like this video because you think the gun is too expensive, I'm sorry. I promise there will be other videos with more affordable guns. But right now I want to talk about this gun for no other reason than I just want to talk about it and shoot it. Woo! Thumper. Thumper, 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 thumper. So when I had my SCAR initially, I thought I was just gonna leave it as is. And then of course, like I normally do, I get the great idea, why don't I come up with an unnecessary reason for customizing it? That's where you get this. I figured I wanted something unique. I wanted something unique, I wanted something mobile, I wanted something short, but I wanted something that had thump.
Before you finish watching this video, a word from our sponsor. Have you ever thought about making a living in the firearms industry? If you enjoy gun repair, ballistics, and learning about firearms, Sonoran Desert Institute's online courses might just be a good fit for you. To find out more, visit sdi.edu or call 480-999-4767 today.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is thump. But the beautiful thing about this thump is it actually doesn't recoil as bad as some other guns chambered in .308. So here's what I did. First and foremost, I started off with the stock. I wanted to change the stock because as much as I love the UGG boot, I don't like the UGG boot. Let's leave the UGG boot for the basic Beckies. Now, stock is a Kinetic Development stock, which I really love. It kind of looks like an ACR stock. It's kind of like a Kinetic Development version of an ACR stock of sorts. I like this stock because it's a lot more angular, it's a lot more streamlined, and it just has a better looking profile. Then on top of that, next thing I wanted to change was the grip. This is actually not the ideal grip I wanted to use for it. I was just dumb and didn't realize that not all the grips translated easily over to the SCAR platform. So now I am in the process of coming up with a different grip I want to put on this particular gun. But for right now, this will do because I do like it better than the stock version. With the trigger, I have the Geissele Super SCAR trigger. This trigger is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And the reason why it's a two-stage trigger, let's see here. Let's get this in here. And you get this initial pull here. See that? See that take up? So slick, so smooth. And then you have the brake. Look at this, just, oh gosh. It's phenomenal. I love it. Why can't all rifle triggers be that good? Now this trigger is specifically made for the SCAR. Smooth uptake, crisp brake, beautiful reset. Let's look at that again. Smooth take up, nice brake, and then the reset. Just snappy. I'm spitting all over the place like I'm a 12-year-old. Just like a pop, like a little pop. You heard it, let's do it again. All right, now for the reset. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. For my optic situation, I wanted something that allowed me to get some distance. My Leupold Mark VI 1:6. I really, really love this optic. This optic, for me, if I could, I'd put it pretty much on every 16-inch AR I have. This one is specially configured for the 7.62x51, which this is chambered in. Now, things change up a little bit because I actually have an SB. This is actually an SBR. The original SCAR Heavy comes with a 16-inch barrel. This is a 13-inch barrel. This is the actual SBR barrel from FN. Some guys like to chop their barrels. Some guys I think there may be some aftermarket barrels, I'm not entirely sure. But this is actually from FN. It's a 13-inch barrel, which you can just easily swap on this particular platform. The trajectory that this is based on, as far as the reticle in this, may not actually line up to this because I'm running with the shorter barrel, but it's close enough for me to care. This is a setup that I acquired from Buck Doyle. After taking a number of his courses and seeing how he has a lot of his setups like this, I pretty much adopted it for myself in a lot of my guns. So when I have the opportunity to, I'll usually run a low-powered variable optic with a red dot on a 45-degree cant of some sort. A lot of guys like to run theirs up front. I noticed in taking with some of his courses that I prefer to have my red dot as close to my eye as possible instead of having it up here. It was just more natural for me, and my eyes picked it up a lot better. So for me, having it up close works perfect for me. So we have the Leupold 1-6 Mark VI, along with the Delta Point Pro as my offset red dot sight. So I basically keep this at 6 power or 4 power. So if I needed to go long and then come closer, I can do that. Let's talk about my lighting system. So I like Surefire. I'm one of those people that's just kind of, I'm a Surefire guy. Sue me. I like Surefires. So right now what I'm doing is running one of the scout lights with the pressure pads. The pressure pad, from what I've learned, if I were downrange, so to speak, if I was in the military, I don't know if I'd necessarily run a pressure pad because the consequences of accidentally engaging your light are a little bit more detrimental, or a lot more detrimental, if I was actually a soldier at war dealing with what they deal with. For me, on the other hand, as a civilian, I want easy accessibility to my light, period. That's just me. And I want to be able to easily turn that on. And I don't like, since I am right-handed, I like to have things balanced. So if I had the light over here, it would kind of throw off the balance of the rifle a little bit because all of my support is coming from the left side. And so I tend to like to have all of my accessories on the right side to balance things out, especially when I'm shooting. It could just be mental. I may be overblowing it, but when I do tend to have a light on the left side, it just feels a little awkward and off for me personally. So I did sacrifice my rear sight for my Delta Point Pro, but I still, of course, have my front sight, folding sight up front. And then on top of that, I have my little hand dandy pistol grip. I can't remember. I think this is a Tango down grip. I'm not exactly sure. But I like, because of the weight of this platform, I like to have this little, damn it, Peter. I like to have this foregrip. All right, now the suppressor. The suppressor is the Q suppressor. It's a Trash Panda. It's the smaller version of their larger suppressor. And I just think it balances out the rifle really well. The thing about the SCAR-17 or the SCAR Heavy is what tends to happen is the gun is actually really light. It's a light rifle for it shooting a 308 or 7.62x51. However, once you start adding stuff to it, it can get heavy really quick. And if you add things incorrectly as far as front loading it, the gun can become unbalanced. A lightweight, unbalanced gun is gonna be worse than a heavy balanced gun. I always say balance is almost more important than the actual weight. Now, you know, that has its limits. Like, don't throw 90 pounds on a rifle and balance it out perfectly and think it's gonna be better than a rifle that's 2 pounds and unbalanced. But it's neither here nor there. So, I don't get a lot of back pressure with this particular can on this gun, and I like it like that. And right now I'm running the Cherry Bomb brake on it as well. Now the problem with the Cherry Bomb brake, not necessarily a problem with the Cherry Bomb brake, but having a brake on this 13-inch 308 rifle is that the concussive force and the sound is immensely loud. So by and large, this gun stays suppressed. I keep this gun suppressed. And so I've seen some people who have seen this. I post this on my Instagram page a couple of times, and there's some people who are like, well, what's the point of getting an SBR SCAR and then just adding all this stuff to make it longer, like the suppressor? I'm like, well, because I want to have a suppressor, but I still want to keep it as small as possible. If I want to, I can definitely make it a lot smaller of a platform, and then if I wanted to, pop it out. Now, if I had a 16-inch barrel, then I added a suppressor on it, Kind of changes things quite a bit. I tend to run bipods in the front every so often. Not most of the times, but some of the times. Now let's talk about this paint job. My friend who put this together for me, we talked about it a little bit, and he was like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, you know what? I'm in the city, there's a lot of gray. There's some contrasting green there too, but there's a lot of concrete. So there's a lot of gray. So I figured, why not come out with the gray camo? And that's what we did, gray camo. So, like I said, it can get a little heavy. It's a little bloated, and when I say bloated, meaning with the AR, you tend to have a more slimmer profile as far as how high it is. Just, it just looks like a bloated gun, but you're shooting a 308. So you have that punching power, not necessarily stopping power, but that punching power. So dealing with things that are behind barricades, like walls and stuff, you can start chipping away at that stuff real quick with a 308 round. Not only that, you also have a lot more punching power at further distances. Now, you do tend to lose a lot of velocity when you start cutting down the barrel on a 308 gun. So you gotta kind of keep that in mind. And I'm aware of that, but I really honestly don't want it. I'm not gonna say I don't see myself dealing with anything at 500 yards and further, but I like what I gain from getting a shorter barrel versus having a longer one, especially considering this gun lives suppress as much as it does. Done up, modified, beautiful, sexy SCAR-17. Again, I know it sounds corny, but I like it. I like it a lot. I don't understand why people have such a problem with this gun, but it is what it is. Everybody has their thing. I like what I like, you like what you like. Another person watching this video who really doesn't like this gun is sitting there shaking his head like this. But, all's well that ends well.
One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now, you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together, we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.